Hi, this is Brendan from Watto Training, and in this tutorial we take a look at 12 tips for better learner supervision. This tutorial is primarily focused on our New South Wales driver trainers. However, it may have some value to driver trainers in other states and territories. The primary source of information in this tutorial is from the www.rms.nsw.gov.au website. I would encourage driver trainers from other jurisdictions to check their state and territory transport department websites to ensure that they are familiar with their local rules and regulations. Okay, the RMS tip number one is if either you or the learner driver is tired, upset, or stressed, reschedule the practice session to another time. Don't take the risk. Hazards are situations or things that have the potential to harm a person, so we need to be on the lookout for those. Risks refer to the possibility that harm, death, injury, or illness might occur when exposed to the hazard. And finally, risk controls mean taking action to eliminate health and safety risks so far as is reasonably practicable, and if that is not possible, minimizing the risks so far as is reasonably practicable. Okay, RMS tip number two, try frequent short practice sessions in the beginning. Research in neuroeducation emphasizes the need for short learning sessions separated by short resting periods. Studies have shown that a group that participated in short training sessions performed better than a group that participated in long training sessions. The brain retains both the first and last parts of a training session. However, it has a hard time retaining the information presented in the middle of the session. Thus, short training sessions are more effective because they reduce the middle portion of the session. For this reason, a training session should ideally be no more than 20 minutes long. It may be more effective to divide the lesson, a 1-hour lesson for example, into 3 separate segments of 20 minutes each. For example, in the first 20 minutes you might focus on driving skill development, observation, scanning, steering, signaling, mirror checks, shoulder checks. In the second 20 minutes, focus on maneuvers. And finally, in the third 20 minutes, focus on applying skills in various traffic situations. The short but more frequent rule applies to all types of learning. Use the 7/20 rules. The average adult's attention starts to drift after only 7 minutes if he or she is not participating. If you sit on the side of the road for 7+ minutes talking to your student, then you've probably been talking too long and lost them at the 7-minute mark, if you're lucky to get that far. Consider structuring using the rule of 3. When designing learning opportunities, we have to think of the rule of 3. 1. Preparation. Prepare the student for managing, let's say, simple roundabouts by practicing the skills they will need to manage the roundabouts as well as knowing the relevant rules. Step 2. Practice. Check the student's understanding, then guide them through some simple roundabouts under instruction, then slowly backing off on your instruction as they take more control. And 3. Application. Direct the student through some simple roundabouts and see if they can safely manage them without you instructing them. Then, when ready, move to more complex roundabouts using the same process. RMS tip 3. Use the learner-driver logbook task key points as a guide to practice sessions. RMS tip number 4. Begin with the easiest tasks, then, once your learner has mastered those, move on to more difficult tasks. RMS tip number 5. Discuss then demonstrate new tasks before asking your learner to attempt them. Okay, here are some top tips for demonstrations. Have a plan of what you will do, but be flexible. Choose your location. Is it suitable? Is it safe? State your objective. Don't try to bite off too much. Keep instructions simple. Keep instructions clear. Keep instructions concise. Do your research. Know your rules. Know your criteria. As much as possible, show rather than tell. Use visual aids, whiteboards, models, diagrams where relevant. Know your audience. It's not all about you, it's about them. So have a learner-centered approach. Make sure you practice first, just like rehearsing for a stage play or something like that. Don't overload yourself or your student with expectations. At the end of the session, review and make marginal improvements. Don't rush to throw out your original plan. Okay, RMS tip 6, use commentary driving. Talk about what is happening inside and outside the vehicle. A commentary drive is where you describe everything that's happening on the road around you that has the potential to affect how you react and everything that you are doing to mitigate dangers on the road. A large part of the commentary drive is identifying hazards and describing your response to them. Spotting a hazard in time to take suitable evasive action and avoid a crash is an essential part of safe driving. A road hazard can be any possible source of danger on or near the road that could lead to a crash, and it could come from any direction. It could be a child chasing a ball onto the road, a parked car door opening, vehicle merging into your lane or stopping suddenly in front of you, or slippery road surface after rain. RMS tip 7, start the learner practicing on quiet streets, preferably in daylight, before moving onto busier roads and more challenging conditions. RMS tip 8, allow the learner to proceed at their own pace. Don't force them to attempt tasks they're not ready for. Pace does not mean at the speed of light, or at the other end of the spectrum, snail's pace. Some trainers think that by changing their activity every 5 minutes is providing a dynamic session, but sometimes it proves to be chaotic and students don't have time to get any rhythm, flow, or depth to their learning experience. Other time, trainers do the same activity way too long and boredom and disinterest sets in. Getting the balance just right is a constant work in progress and varies depending on a large range of factors. For example, the age of the learner, the length of the session, the training environment, and the confidence level of the student. To pace your sessions properly, you need to provide variety in A, the rate of delivery, and B, the nature of the activities. Keep the lesson moving forward, but don't leave the learner behind, and at the same token, don't have them waiting for you to catch up. Assess performance. Make an objective decision on their progress, provide feedback, guidance, and encouragement. Provide more opportunities for practice if the lesson momentum is present, or move on to new challenges. RMS tip number 9, don't criticize mistakes. Calmly explain and discuss what happened and allow the learner to try again. The problem with criticism is that it challenges our sense of value. Criticism implies judgment, and we all recoil from feeling judged. Criticism is destructive to relationships when it is about personality or character rather than behavior. It's filled with blame, not focused on improvement, and based on only one right way to do things. Finally, belittling. RMS tip number 10, be positive and offer praise when the learner successfully completes a task. RMS tip number 11, emphasize the importance of developing a sensitivity to speed. Learners need to understand that the faster a vehicle travels, the more difficult it is to respond to potential hazards. When involved in a crash, the faster a vehicle is traveling, the more devastating the outcome. RMS tip number 12, avoid using the radio, mobile phone, or talking to other passengers while your learner is practicing. Thanks for watching. This has been Brendan from Watto Training.